It's strange how our culture has shaped this idea that helping others is always the right thing to do. From the time we were children, we were told that being a good person means always saying yes, always giving, always being available. That kindness means never refusing, never setting limits, never saying not right now. And if you dare to pause, if you hesitate for even a moment, people start to whisper you're selfish. You've changed. You're not as kind as you used to be. But what if that idea, the one we built our goodness around, is completely backwards? What if this constant urge to fix, to save, to carry everyone's burdens isn't love at all? What if it's actually a subtle form of control, a way of interfering with the very process that life itself is using to teach others what they need to learn? Think about it for a moment. When you repeatedly rescue someone from the consequences of their choices, what are you really doing? You're not saving them, you're stopping them. You're blocking the lesson that was meant to strengthen them. You're standing in the way of their growth, shielding them from the pain that would have become their wisdom. You call it compassion, but sometimes compassion becomes a cage soft on the outside, but built from fear, guilt, and the need to be needed. Now, I'm not saying we should harden our hearts or turn away from those in pain. Of course not. That would be another trap, the opposite extreme. The real question isn't should we care. It's how we care. How do we love without losing ourselves? How do we support without interfering? Because the truth is, some people don't want healing. They want your energy. They want your time, your peace, your strength, and they'll take and take and take until there's nothing left of you but exhaustion disguised as kindness. And the real tragedy isn't that they keep taking. The real tragedy is that in your effort to save them, you've stopped them from saving themselves. You've interrupted their transformation and called it love. Let me share something powerful with you, the 7 types of people you must learn to recognize. Not so that you can judge them, not so you can harden your heart against them, but so that you can protect your energy, your peace, and your purpose. Because not everyone who needs help is meant to be helped. Some people need to meet life face to face without you standing in the middle. Number 1, the chronically lazy. Now, there's a world of difference between someone who is struggling and someone who has stopped trying. The one who's struggling will take your hand and use it as a step toward growth. But the chronically lazy, they'll take that same hand and turn it into a hammock, a comfortable resting place where they can swing endlessly while you carry all the weight. They've quietly made a decision, whether they admit it or not, that life is too heavy, too unfair, too hard, and that someone else should lift it for them. And the moment you agree to help, you unknowingly volunteer to become that someone. Nature, though, doesn't operate this way. Look closely. A bird doesn't keep feeding a chick that refuses to open its mouth. A tree doesn't keep pouring energy into a branch that bears no fruit. In nature, what does not grow, what does not give back, is cut off not out of cruelty, but out of wisdom, because life itself understands balance. The chronically lazy person, however, will always have an explanation, a sad story, a stroke of bad luck, a list of reasons why they can't. And yes, maybe some of it is true. But the question you must ask, the only question that really matters, is this. What are they doing about it now? Are they taking even a single step toward change, however small? Or are they sitting back, waiting for another rescuer, another handout, another chance to avoid the very discomfort that could have made them strong? When you keep stepping in for them, you're not helping, you're interrupting life's teaching. You're shielding them from the lessons that could awaken their courage. And remember this truth, if you keep carrying someone who refuses to walk, you're not saving them, you're teaching them to crawl. Someone who refuses to help themselves isn't just avoiding effort, they're missing the very moment life offers them to become stronger. And when you keep stepping in, when you keep rescuing them, you unknowingly rob them of something sacred. You rob them of the pride that comes from solving their own problems. You rob them of the confidence that grows from surviving struggle. You rob them of the discovery that they are, in fact, capable. Some of you have been carrying people for years, paying their bills, cleaning up their chaos, fixing the same problems over and over again. And each time you whisper to yourself, I'm just being kind. But ask yourself this. What if your kindness is the very thing keeping them weak? What if your help has become their crutch, the reason they never learn to stand? Because here's a hard truth. The lazy must learn to feel hunger. They must feel the sting of discomfort. They must taste the consequences of their own choices. When the pain staying the same finally outweighs the pain of changing, will they begin to move? Until then, your help becomes the soft pillow that keeps them asleep. Now, let's talk about number two, the perpetually ungrateful. You know, these people, the ones who can receive something extraordinary and act as if it were nothing. You give them your time, your energy, your heart, and they take it as if it were owed. No, thank you. No recognition. No sense of value. They move through life collecting blessings with empty eyes. But this isn't about forgetfulness or poor manners. This is about character. Gratitude is not just politeness, it's perspective. It's the mark of someone who understands that every kindness, every bit of help, every open door is a gift, not a guarantee. A truly grateful person treats life with reverence. They see generosity as sacred. They honor the giver because they know the gift could have been withheld. But the perpetually ungrateful, they treat help as an entitlement, not a blessing. And when you keep giving to them, hoping they'll finally appreciate it, you end up pouring your energy into a cup that has no bottom. Gratitude anchors the soul, and without it, people drift endlessly, consuming more and more, never realizing the value of what they've already received. The arrogant and self-righteous, these are the ones who live in a fortress built out of pride. They believe they already know everything, that their way is the only way, and that everyone else is beneath them. You could offer them wisdom that could change their entire life, and they'd shrug it off like dust on their shoulder. Why? But here's the truth, they are not strong. They are afraid. Afraid of being seen as human. Afraid that their carefully built image might crack if they ever let humility in. When you try to guide or advise someone like this, you'll find yourself speaking into a storm. They don't listen to understand, they listen to respond. Their ego filters every word, twisting it to fit their own narrative. You could spend hours trying to reason with them, but all you'll get in return is resistance, defensiveness, and arrogance dressed as confidence. And if you ever dare to challenge them, they won't thank you for your honesty, they'll see you as an enemy. But understand this, it's not your job to tear down someone's pride. Life has a way of doing that on its own. Sooner or later, the weight of their arrogance will collapse the walls they've built, and when that happens, they'll finally see what they've been running from, the truth that humility isn't weakness, it's freedom. Until then, protect your peace. Walk away. Because no amount of light can help a person who insists on living in the dark. Because only when the ground shakes beneath them will they realize how fragile their throne really was. Pride has a way of making people believe they're untouchable, but life has a way of humbling even the highest of egos. When the arrogant fall, it isn't punishment, it's mercy. It's life's way of stripping away illusions so they can finally see the truth. No one is above learning, and no one is too great to grow. You see, wisdom doesn't chase, it waits. It waits for the proud heart to soften, for the deaf ears to finally open. The arrogant person will ignore advice, lose friends, and burn bridges until they find themselves standing alone, and in that silence, they'll finally hear what they've been running from all along. That's when real change begins. But until that day comes, your best move is to let them go. Speak your truth, then step back. Don't argue, don't beg them to understand, because every word wasted on deaf ears drains your own strength. The lesson is simple. Let life teach what your words cannot. Sometimes the most powerful form of help is allowing someone to meet the consequences of their own pride. Only then can humility be born, and with it, the chance for true wisdom to finally take root. They crave control, not correction. The habitually wicked don't seek light, they seek leverage. They will take your kindness and twist it into a weapon. They'll use your empathy as their entry point, your mercy as their shield, and your trust as their playground. And when the damage is done, they'll look you in the eye and convince you it was all your fault. That's the mastery of their darkness. It disguises itself as need. You see, the danger of helping a wicked person is not just that they won't change, but that they will change you. They drain your compassion until you grow cold. They cloud your judgment until you doubt yourself. And they manipulate your goodness until you can no longer tell the difference between helping and enabling. That's how evil spreads, not through grand acts of chaos, but through small acts of misplaced mercy. There comes a moment when you must stop trying to save those who are determined to destroy themselves and others with them. Wisdom says, step back. Let them face the weight of their choices. Let their own darkness become their teacher. Because only when their world crumbles by their own hand can they ever glimpse the light they've been running from. Protect your heart. Guard your energy. Compassion without discernment is not virtue, it's vulnerability. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to walk away and let the storm do what only the storm can. They don't want saving, they want sympathy. They crave attention more than transformation. The incurably foolish live in cycles of chaos because deep down that chaos has become their comfort zone. They're addicted to the drama of their own downfall. They mistake pity for love and rescue for validation. And the more you try to help them, the deeper they drag you into their storm. You see, the fool doesn't learn because learning requires humility. It requires the ability to say, I was wrong. But the fool's pride won't let them see their own reflection clearly. They would rather blame the world than take responsibility for their part in it. So they keep repeating the same mistakes with new faces, new excuses, and the same painful result. And you, the compassionate one, become the constant, the shoulder to cry on, the fixer, the safety net. But here's the hard truth. Every time you catch them, you're teaching them they don't have to stand on their own. Every time you rescue them, you reinforce their belief that consequences can always be avoided. Sometimes the most powerful way to love a fool is to let them fall. Let them face the impact of their choices. Let life itself become their teacher. Because the pain that comes from experience is often the only kind that leads to awakening. Step back, not out of cruelty, but out of clarity, knowing that real growth can only begin where false comfort ends. The moment you stop feeding their story, their mask begins to slip. That's when you'll see their true face, cold, calculating, and offended that you dared to take your power back. The manipulator never wanted your friendship. They wanted your usefulness. They study your empathy, your guilt, your kindness, and they twist it until you can't tell where compassion ends and control begins. They don't beg for help. They engineer it. Every tear, every confession, every poor me moment is a performance crafted to keep you emotionally hooked. They'll make you believe you're their savior, that without you, they'd fall apart. But the truth is, they never needed saving. They needed supply, attention, energy, control. Suddenly you become the villain, the cold one, the betrayer, the one who changed. They'll twist reality so that you question your own judgment. But remember this, manipulators survive on confusion. Clarity is their greatest enemy. So when you recognize one, step back without guilt. Silence is your armor.
Distance is your freedom.
Because helping a manipulator is like pouring water into a poisoned well. No matter how much you give, it only becomes more toxic. True strength isn't in saving them, it's in saving yourself. Who truly needs help, and someone who simply wants to be rescued from the consequences of their choices. Real compassion is not about saying yes to everyone, it's about knowing when to say no. True love does not always rescue. Sometimes it steps back and allows reality to teach its lessons. Helping the wrong people doesn't make you noble, it makes you drained, empty, and bitter. Wisdom means knowing where your energy belongs. Some people need your guidance, others need your absence. Some will grow because you stayed, and others will only grow once you walk away. Discernment is not cruelty, it's clarity. It's the ability to see the difference between a soul that's reaching for the light and one that's clinging to the dark. When you stop trying to fix everyone, you begin to protect the one person you can fix yourself. So, the next time your heart urges you to help, pause and ask, is this person willing to help themselves? If the answer is no, then your help is not healing, it's interference. You can care deeply and still walk away. You can love and still let go. Because sometimes the most powerful act of love is simply allowing others to face the mirror life keeps placing in front of them and trusting that, in time, they will see what you already saw. That, my friends, is not selfishness. That is sacred wisdom. them. That's the hard truth, one that every wise soul eventually learns. You can guide, you can inspire, you can light the way, but you cannot walk someone else's journey for them. Every person must face their own mirror, fight their own battles, and climb their own mountains. Your job is not to carry everyone, it's to carry clarity, to know when your help becomes harm and when your love must take the form of distance. Because real love doesn't always look like saving sometimes, it looks like letting go. And when you finally step back, you'll notice something powerful. Your peace returns. Your energy renews. You begin to grow again. You realize that protecting your soul is not selfish, it's sacred. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot heal the world by breaking yourself. So let go, not out of coldness, but out of wisdom. Let people meet their lessons. Let them earn their growth. Because only then will your help mean something not as rescue, but as guidance. That, my friends, is the real definition of compassion, the courage to love without losing yourself, to care without carrying the weight of others' choices, and to walk in light even when the world insists on staying in the dark.